I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Booby.
And Salty and, oh no. And Vita and Chip, Rocky.
Patreon pick, y'all.
Yep.
Shout out to the True Cult Alliance.
And Damon.
Damon Sage. This is another one of those songs. I think there's been like 4 or 5 other people that have suggested Neurosis in the entire...
This is the only way it would have happened.
Yeah, in the entire history of
this channel.
Of this channel. This band would have gotten 0 burn whatsoever. So, not a band I'm very familiar with at all. So this should be interesting. Apparently they're an important band though. So keep your eyes peeled for that John Schaefer, that Matthew Barlow interview.
Yeah.
Working on that. He reposted the video. He posted the the Ice Earth video. Yeah.
Oh.
So.
Oh, that's cool.
We're gonna do Ashes of Aries and then do an interview with the big homie.
Nice. And
I'm waiting for him to answer back to see if we can get some patrons in on the actual interview itself.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Because that'll be next level access. Just wanted to say thank you to all our patrons. We got a bunch of new ones in the last 3 weeks, so thank you guys so much. You guys are a major partner with what we're trying to accomplish here in the world, so we appreciate it. Thank you to all our non-patrons. Thank you to everybody who's ever retweeted something of ours or shared something of ours. That is important. If you want to see this one's life behind the scenes, check out Middle America. Check out My Story Life.
Yeah, I just got some discounted 90% off Halloween costumes for the kids, so I bring them in and show them to the kids, so you get to see their excitement about that, and then maybe they're going to start making some little plays for you guys.
And that's then really we have Middle America with Vin and Sori. So I've got some interesting stuff coming down the pike. So I want to update that channel daily, but I don't want to update the channel daily just to do it, just so you know, the more you do, the more views you get, and da-da-da, but I really want to only shoot that.
Significant stuff.
If there's something that I feel like, whoa, I got to talk about that. So it's not going to be as regular. One of the things I would like you guys to do is if you could send me ideas or topics, that would be great too. All right, well, this is...
Oh, somebody said that after hearing Johan's interview, they said that you should have him on Middle America in one of your things and ask him, present some of the stuff to him, you know, that would be for kids and stuff. I would think that's a really good idea. Because he's got some deep wisdom for a little guy, and it's surprising. Yeah,
Johan's a deep dude. Inshallah, we'll see. All right, well, this is Neurosis, so let's get to it.
Go.
Are you lost?
Yes.
Because we don't know when we will die, we get to think of life as an inexhaustible well. Yet everything happens only a certain number of times, and a very small number, really. How many more times will you remember a certain afternoon of your childhood? Some afternoon that's so deeply a part of your being that you can't even conceive your life without it. Perhaps 4 or 5 times more. Perhaps not even that. How many more times will you watch the full moon rise? Perhaps 20. And yet it all seems limitless. Are you lost?
Now
is a very interesting song. What category is this?
I don't know. Damon Sage, the leader of the True Cult group, told me they were
he puts it up on
hardcore punk, early progressive metal sludge, post-hardcore tribal ambient.
Whoa.
I just felt like there were too many gaps between. I couldn't really get the rhythm of the song because there were just too many gaps between. You know, when they would go to the next segment of the song.
Yeah, but that's what it was. I thought that
a lot of dead space.
I thought that's what it was supposed to be because the whole thing didn't seem overproduced.
No.
It seemed like.
I generally like at the beginning if the song takes a while to get to the main course per se, but I don't like eat. I felt like I was eating. I had my steak. I put my knife in the steak, and then we're taking it away. Here's a 2-minute interlude. Bah. Yeah, I just felt like the song was probably about 2.5 minutes too long, and they would have just. I like the talking parts because I felt like challenged to piece the talking parts together with the overarching message of the song. But I don't know. There was just too much dead space in this song for me, sonically, to really like get behind it.
I mean, I know I'm confused. I'm very confused about all of it, but I think I still liked it.
Well, there's that quote. I typed it in as he was talking. The sheltering sky. We don't know when we'll die. We get to think of life as an inexhaustible well, yet everything happens only a certain number of times, and a very small number, really. How many more times will you remember a certain afternoon of your childhood? Some afternoon that is so deeply a part of your being that you can't even ever conceive of your life without it. Perhaps 4 or 5 times more, perhaps not even that. How many more times will you watch the full moon rise? Perhaps 20, and yet it all seems limitless. So this is an existential song about, I guess, what it means to exist and what human nature is, and you know, figuring out what is human nature and all that. So that's good. Like when we get into the lyrics, it's just, I don't know, sonically, I was like, yeah, there are a couple parts, and I was like, and I know some people are inevitably gonna say, this Vin, you know, he just wants chug-a-lug music, and it's like, I don't know, there's something to be said about the rhythm of a song. But you liked it.
Yeah, I caught a rhythm a couple times where I was like, oh, okay. And then there was other times I was like, wait, no, what's happening? I'm confused. But I still think that overall I liked it. And even when you think of, if that's what it's talking about, is humanity and what it is to exist and stuff like that, well then that kind of makes sense because there is like, you know, you hit in your life, you'll hit like rhythms, it feels like good, and then all of a sudden it feels like crazy, and then there's other times where it feels like what it is, whatever, you know. So I think that if that's what it's about, then I think that those cycles make sense in the song, within the song, musically.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes, if that's what they were trying to go for, they accomplished it. But they probably accomplished it too well because this song doesn't have a very high view of life. I don't think, and I don't have a very high view of this song. So if that's what they were trying to do, then congratulations. Mashallah tabaraka, you guys made it happen.
Oh
no. You know, just talking, it seems to be a nihilist approach to existence.
Okay.
My eyes were jaded, so close to the center I could not see, but now they are fixed and glaring at the sacrifice to be made. In this section, I think he's actually looking into a mirror.
Oh.
I think is what's happening.
He's gonna sacrifice himself?
Yeah, I think he's talking about, I think he's like come to some major realization that has brought him to a situation where he's probably going to sacrifice himself, but not in a good way. Now that I'm aware of the cycles, I pray that I can deal. Now that I have shown you these cycles, I pray that you can feel. In and out of the stray, taking the bait, feeling compelled to obey, betray the isle of await.
I don't know if that makes any sense to me. Today.
running scared from their thought, thinking I can summon some ancient truth before wrong, seeking my nature out in our nature, with fear of being caught, or have we been like this all along? See, this to me sounds like a modern dude who's cut off from any sense of what it means to be human.
Okay.
And so he has to go back to summon ancient truth, try to summon ancient truth, to find some reason to continue to exist. The dawn of birth gives way to men. Age brings dimness to sight as it must. Death seals the eyelids on darkness once again, augmentation of the dust. So you have these cycles of birth and death and birth and death, and we come on the scene, but age is gonna make it so, because at the beginning, he's talking about his eyes being open, but then at the end...
Jaded means open?
Well, he's seeing the reality. See, it says like, so close to the center.
I thought it was a negative effect by dealing with the truth of a thing.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're jaded. But look, so close to the center, I could not see. But now they are fixed. See what I'm saying? So now he's experienced some awakening, some eye-opening to some reality. But then the song ends with, age brings dimness to sight as it must. So what his eyes are open to is the fact that his eyes are going to be dimmed at the end.
Oh.
Is the idea, I think, which is pretty highbrow writing. If you think about irony. And a lot of times when you read like a piece of literature, like people like forget to loop back to the beginning and see the connections. But that's a pretty scary perspective. You know, like, I'm opening my eyes to reality, and the reality is that my eyes are eternally going to be closed. Like, that seems to be the ultimate reality here.
Jeez.
And then, you know...
The dawn of birth gives way to men. Age brings dimness to sight as it must. Death seals the... Oh, yeah. So you're saying that this last paragraph or stanza is basically a recap of the whole song.
Yeah, he experienced some sort of awakening in stanza 1. In stanza 1, he experiences some sort of awakening, like, I was, and this is what I am now. It's like the whole blind now I can see motif, but it gets flipped on its head at the end, because what he's seeing is that he's going to end up dying blind, basically.
Jeez.
That he's just dust that needs to be augmented. That's going to be augmented by time, basically. That's what a human being is.
Jeez, okay.
But so there is that quote from that guy where, you know...
There was a lot of talking in there. I heard something about the Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah, blessed are the peacemakers. And
what was he saying about that?
The guy was saying that,
understand everything.
that it's very hard to... He said something to the effect of, that's very hard to build, and basically brick by brick. Basically, I think what I got from that quote was, I didn't look that part up because I already knew blessed are the peacemakers, but as he was talking, the other one was the sheltering sky thing, which we just quoted earlier, but the blessed are the peacemakers thing was basically the guy was basically...
It sounded like he was saying, but that's too much work.
Right.
That's what I thought I was getting.
Yeah, it's too hard. And then you have the thing about human nature, seeking my nature, our nature, with fear of being caught. Or have we been like this all along? Like, trying to find some way to improve us is also futile. Well, it doesn't really say it's futile here. It just says he's seeking it. And he's afraid of being caught.
Yeah.
And he asks the question, have we been like this all along? And, of course, our answer is yes and no. Yes, for the majority of the human history, we've been like this. But technically speaking, we haven't always been like this.
Right.
Human nature hasn't always been this way. But yeah, it's a sludgy, dark, gray. The little picture here of the album was perfect.
It was exactly what you could hear in the music. Especially his mouth area.
Yeah. I was focused on too. It was pretty gross too.
But I thought that
the name of the record,
I think that they accomplished what they were trying to accomplish, and it had that feeling to it. Like, it felt to me like, this is not good. Like, we're not in a good situation here. We're not in a good place. Yeah, gloomy and doomy, yeah.
Doomy.
But then it was like, but it kind of felt like, okay, but we are going somewhere, like, if you were trapped in a cave and there was no entrance and there was no exit, but you weren't completely sure of that, and so you were trekking from one side to the other, so you're moving, but it's still pretty dismal because you're pretty sure that there's no end and no beginning, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It kind of had that feel to it, so.
I was listening to Joe Rogan yesterday, and he was talking to Gavin McInnes, which that guy is a very interesting character. And, I mean, the dude outright said he was an alcoholic. I was like, okay, all right. I've never seen that before in a talk show, but all right.
Yeah.
And he was drinking.
He was the one that was saying a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, he was saying a lot of crazy stuff. But
yeah.
one of the things he said is that he became Catholic because he saw he went back to being a theist because he saw his child's heel. He was looking at the heel, like the fully, perfectly formed heel of his baby. He was holding his baby and he saw her heel, and then something washed over him where he was like, there has to be a God. Look at this perfectly formed heel.
Wow.
And of course, Rogan believes that there is very possible could be higher power, but he's very against the Catholic Church.
He said he's not an atheist.
Or religion in general. But he said something to the effect of like, he seemed very offended. And of course, McGinnis was saying all types of racial slurs and homophobic slurs, but
ugh.
Rogan didn't get offended until he said he was part of the Catholic Church, which was very interesting to me about Rogan's value structure. But you know, of course, nothing the guy said offended me, but I'm a very hard person to offend. But Rogan basically said he was angry at him or annoyed or whatever you want to call it because he was, you're listening to these, it was just these people are old, these backwoods people, how could you listen to them? You know, yada, yada.
Rogan said this to him, the other guy?
Yeah. It's like, because they're older, because it's ancient, because the wisdom is ancient, it's not as advanced as us because we have iPhones now. Just this, to me, silly adolescent
we're one of like
view of the world for sure.
I don't think, and I don't know, like I can't tell you numbers, but I know like that's not common throughout the world that the elderly or the older looked down upon like. Who are you and what do you know?
What?
Like other tribes, like the oldest person in the tribe, that's the one with the most wisdom. That's who people go to, and they're actually have a higher value.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't think Rogan has the self-consciousness to realize that. You know, for example, like DMT, he's big on DMT and ayahuasca and all this stuff, and you know, he goes, you know, he's talked about Terrence McKenna, all these guys who've traveled to South America, and they make reference to ancient wisdom and ancient religion and combining with DMT, and he validates that. He doesn't go, oh, you stupid, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's you know, I've always said like the Western person is in the adolescent stage of its being, where Western people are dependent on ancient wisdom, but are not. It's like a teenager who still lives at mom's house, but then doesn't like mom's rules, so he wants to strike out on his own, but he knows he can't do that. You know, so it's like, oh, these stupid ancient people that you built your own society on. Okay, all right, Joe, whatever you say. But here, like, but if you catch people in unguarded moments, there's like that's what happened in the '60s and the '70s. People are like, man, we need to, and then people are looking to Eastern religions. You know, they rejected a certain brand of Christianity that they saw, and then they're like, well, let's go to the Eastern rite. Maybe the Eastern folks will have something. But it was all ancient religions. It wasn't new. You know, Beatles and all that jazz, going over to India and such, and practicing yoga. Like, that wasn't new. That was like extremely older than Christianity to some degree.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's okay. Ayahuasca's okay, but like, you know, stupid Bronze Age people. And it's like, all right. Well, if you could come up with a codified way of living, that's why Peterson's Bible studies are so fascinating to me, because he's not coming from a Christian or even a Jewish perspective.
I totally agree.
You know, but
I totally agree, because if there was a Christian that was doing his teaching, I wouldn't be half as interested.
Right. He sees the depth of wisdom in it.
Yeah.
And the utility in it, especially as a psychologist. But this guy is like, it's like he's like searching for something. But it's interesting because I wonder if the fear of being caught thing thinking I can summon some ancient truth, seeking my nature with fear of being caught. I wonder if it's like
our nature, not my. Seeking my nature, our nature.
With fear of being caught.
Yeah, what do you think that means?
Being caught how? So it's like, oh, you mean searching that ancient truth as a modern person? Like you don't want your surrounding community to catch you actually giving that ancient wisdom a shot?
What do you think he means? Or have I been like this all along?
Have we been like this?
Or have we been like this? But like what?
Because if you go back to the ancient truth, you're trying to find some sort of solution.
Yeah.
But then if you look back into that ancient truth, you'll see that we've been sucking the whole time.
Yikes.
But it's like, I do wonder though if there, because I know from a theistic perspective, there's a lot of pressure to act like you have faith completely and that you don't have any doubts at all, and that you know. But I wonder if in like the non-believing or whatever community people want to label themselves at, I wonder if there's any pressure, there's any peer pressure towards people who, because like when I saw Rogan's reaction to Gavin McInnes, I was like, whoa, like, of course, if we did that, it would be, look at these religious fundamentalists, they can't handle people doubting. So I just wonder, like, what, because I'm not in, you know, insider circles and unbelieving communities, but I just wonder, like, how much pressure are people under to maintain their unbelief?
Yeah.
And to maintain their doubts, and to maintain the party line, and what will happen to them? You know, could you, if you wanted to, like, really dig into existential truth, could you? You know, sometimes I wonder if people watch this channel because of that. It's like, oh, these stupid Christians. You know what I mean? Like, let me hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
Dumb butts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it isn't it. So comment below. Like, this is a serious question. Like, do you feel any pressure as an atheist or a non-believer or whatever it is we're calling each other today to maintain that unbelief, and have you had to secretly like look into ancient scriptures or you know, a Bible? You know, for fear of being caught. But anyway. That's what I think the song is about. It's kind of like some search for meaning and significance in life, and trying to fight against nihilism. Because what happens is, most people that subscribe to certain views of the world, it's like, whoa, this means that everything is meaningless, and then they fight like hell against it. That's why people get offended when I say, yeah, you're a nihilist. I'm not a nihilist. It's like, no, you've come to nihilistic conclusions. You just don't want to live that way, so you create meaning elsewhere. Oh wow! I'm not saying that you are. What I'm saying is, this is what, you know, view of the world X leads to. But it's within a human being to try to put purpose around stuff to justify why you're still on the planet, and why, because it's very difficult to live on this planet. So, you know. But yeah, interesting song, interesting subject matter. I wish we had more songs when they had more of those narratives, you know, pushing in, because I think those are extremely interesting. The Bible does that, like in reverse. It'll have a narrative, and then it'll have poems that connect the meaning of the narrative. That's what was happening in Genesis. It's like all throughout the Torah, you had poems that connected what the narrative was saying. This is kind of flipped, where you have, you know, a work of art, but then you have little narratives in the middle that you know. So I wish we had more songs like that, because that's a very interesting way of writing. What do you give the song?
8.5.
It's a solid 6 for me.
Yeah, I think it's an 8.5 for me.
Solid 6. Yeah, just interesting lyrics. I'll probably never listen to the song ever again in my life. Right, John did what we're supposed to do.
Yep.
So there you are. Unless there's like a giant Neurosis wave, or another Patreon push, I don't think we'll listen to this band ever again. Good Lord. Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.